What are with these votes being so close every single week?
It's you, bitch. What do you mean?
So, Sean got voted out. I'm kind of surprised, but I don't know. Things started going down like a couple hours before the votes, and my alliance, which doesn't have a name yet, we started hearing that votes that we thought were going to be going towards Mandy leaving actually ended up going towards Sean leaving.
Going into the eviction on Thursday, I'm thinking Sean is going to stay. They're going to want to keep Sean in. They'll get rid of Mandy. So my goal is to just be upfront with people. I think a big part about week one that kind of hurt me was the fact that I was so wishy-washy. So I wanted everyone to know exactly where I stood as far as the vote went, why I was keeping Sean, and, just kind of leave it at that.
Once Joe and Jacob had decided that they were going to keep Sean, Jacob made a very fine point to make sure that everybody knew what he was doing because of the way that the vote went down last week. The way that it went down last week, Jacob came out of it looking kind of sketchy because he changed his mind a few times as to what he was doing and told different people different things. And this week, he definitely didn't want to do that to try to save his game a little bit. The problem was that the more that he told people that he wanted Sean to stay and the more that Sean randomly was telling people that he had an alliance with Joe and Jacob, even though it wasn't necessary, it started getting really messy. And I think that people were getting worried that there was something going on legitimately between Sean, Jacob, and Joe, which there might have been, but from my understanding, it was kind of falling to shit.
I know because of Shelby about all the crazy stuff that Sean did to throw Joe and I under the bus, but I couldn't let the public know that I knew because then it would expose my alliance with Shelby. As soon as it becomes known that Joe and I are trying to keep Sean, or at least voting to keep Sean, it completely sketches the other side out.
I think Chris and Taylor were getting a little bit worried about how Sean's relationship with Joe and Jacob would impact their game.
I actually really wanted Sean to stay this round, and it's kind of upsetting that I saw him go, but Jacob and Joe made it very apparent that they wanted Sean to stay, and once they started saying stuff like that, it was like, oh, well, I don't really want Sean to stay then, if Sean's wanted by these two as well, because it makes it seem like Sean's now working with them, and so that was alarming.
Ultimately, what it came down to me is that he was a little too late in terms of letting me know about, pre-existing relationships and things that he had going on.
And eventually it turned into most people voting out Sean, and then the people that I'm aligned with voting out Mandy.
I think at the end of the day, Joe and I are definitely responsible for Sean leaving. I think the way that we played week one, how messy it was, how we weren't on the same page with Sean, how we made Sean look, just the constant changing our minds, really hurt Sean's game. And I totally understand why he did what he did. But I do think that it's a little ironic that the fact that he spilled the beans about being in an alliance ultimately sent him home. The reason why he went home is because he told Brady about the alliance that Joe and I were in with him, which I think that's cold. I think at the end of the day, he was always going to choose Taylor and Chris over Joe and I, especially how we were playing. And I think if he won HOH, he could have very well kept his promise and put up Joe and I. So it's just funny that Joe and I essentially sent Sean home by voting to keep Sean in the game. Sean leaving this game really, really sucks. But honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think as a whole, it's put us 5 tight.
You always this animated.
Oh, you don't even know. Sean leaving isn't the worst thing in the world. Sean leaving isn't the worst thing in the world.
Sean leaving isn't the worst thing in the world.
Sean leaving isn't the worst thing in the world because even though he left someone that could potentially have saved me down the road, all in all, it forced the five of us, me, Joe, Dustin, Shelby, and Jonathan, to really become tight like a group. And I feel super comfortable with these guys moving forward in the game. Unfortunately, though, the HOH coming up is going to be all or nothing. If anyone from that other side wins, I could definitely see myself in some hot water.
Is this really what you do?
For me, Shelby was someone that I've heard about just from a couple games. I know that she's won a game before, so I know that she's actually a really good player. And I think it's one thing to find an ally in here that wants to work with you, but I also think it's important to have an ally that is actually good at the game and you can actually like strategize with and feel good about your decisions with and trust them to make good decisions. And that's what Shelby is for me. I think I can trust her completely, and I think it's just because we have a lot of the same interests. And I think it's just gotten stronger. Like I'm never worried about Shelby. I'm never worried about Shelby.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like it just keeps getting stronger, like especially with the more shit that we go through. Because it's like when things go wrong, it's like I know that talking to Jacob is going to make me feel so much better about everything. I totally agree that, like, I think there was one conversation where we were having and we're like, oh, well, maybe we'll put up Chris and Taylor. And then at the same time, we both said, and then backdoor Brady. And it's like we're on the same page about stuff, which makes it so much easier to have game conversations because we don't have to spend like 20 minutes like explaining why we feel a certain way because we're always like just there. That's why he's my number one.
That's why you're my number one.
Shut up. Obviously, I'm not upset about Sean leaving. He was someone that I nominated from the beginning. So him leaving is not bad for my game. I think that the part that might be bad for my game is how obvious it is now that me, Jacob, Joe, and Dustin, and John are aligned.
Personally, I don't care. I really didn't care too much who went. I was originally going to get rid of Sean anyway because I feel like we didn't connect. And he voted me out for no reason, and I was petty. But I voted for the sake of my side. My eyebrows look sickening. After the eviction, we had a little, like, confrontation.
And then there was also kind of like a fight night thing. It was kind of just confrontational conversation, but I'm going to refer to it as fight night. On Sean's way out of the game, he made a comment towards Chris that kind of rubbed a few people the wrong way. When I say a few people, I mean the people that I'm aligned with.
Can I ask one thing though? Like, I'm just gonna be honest. What the hell happened?
Dustin is like, I want to ask a question. Oh, and the floodgates open. All hell broke loose. People started interrogating me. I felt like I was a convict. Like, people started interrogating me. Like, did you do this? And did you do that? And what were your intentions with this and that? And I was just like, am I on trial or what? Like, why am I the person being interrogated? But like, bring it, bitch. I don't have anything to hide.
I felt that Sean was betrayed by Chris, and I wanted to let him know.
Chris, why did he say that to you?
Why did he say that to me?
Yeah.
Because he was someone that I talked to fairly regularly on week 1. Week 2, he stopped talking to me. And then as soon as he found out that I had some information that was not in a good light for him, then he wanted to talk to me and do like 2-hour-long conversations today to try to explain himself. But at that point, it was too late.
What information? Yeah, what information?
What information?
Yeah.
That he was working with Jacob and Joe.
But that was literally a thing that he left, and that wasn't a thing that was real.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I don't understand.
What do you mean you don't understand? What part do you not understand?
You flipped the vote because you wanted to vote out Sean because he had an alliance that he left me and Jacob with?
The fact that he didn't tell me that until his back was against the wall was...
He voted against what me and Jacob already did with him. He was nominated and blamed me for being nominated. And he was like, he's the person that left the group that he created.
Okay, so why are you coming at me for him being gone if that's all true?
Chris was saying points and Joe was trying to like respond, but it just made him look super sketchy.
Joe is going to be the kind of person that he wants his, and I'm calling him out in particular because I feel like he is the driving force behind a lot of other people's actions. So I feel like because it didn't go Joe's way, and because in Sean's plea speech, he mentioned me particularly, that it all of a sudden made me look as if I was the reason in which Sean left. So naturally, he wanted to call me out, and I was ready for it.
I'm upset that he's gone because I wanted Mandy to go because Mandy cannot win a competition. She's not going to show up for things. She's useless, just like Pam, which is why I wanted Pam to go. I don't want to go to make it to the final 3 of this game because I want to make it to the final 3 of this game. If you get 5th place because Mandy's in this game, you're gonna think it's real stupid.
I'm not getting 5th place. I'm probably going next week, depending on who wins. So, let's be real.
Hey, guys, I understand you're upset. Tensions are high. I like you guys here. So,
I'm just
no, there is some tension here.
I'm getting interrogated about something.
No.
Andrew's like telling me in PMs like, yo, this house call's like getting really, really crazy, like get on. So I got on right at the time that they're talking about me and how like I have a reputation and I'm known to be a player and like all this stupid bullshit.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. Not to continue interrogating, but like I was voting for Sean to go up until like literally an hour before.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason why I switched was because I was told that Amanda was gonna straight up. Everybody was campaigning for Amanda to stay because she made a deal with Taylor and you to evict me next week.
Taylor and I guess are one entity. Sorry, go ahead.
That was it.
Yeah. So first of all, I didn't talk to Taylor for several days after she got nominated because I don't know what the fuck she thought. I had some kind of influence on her going on the block or whatever. So, this unbreakable, duo, evil witches rumor going around is complete bullshit. Suddenly, all of a sudden, week 2 was just radio silence. Radio. I was like,
well, that's what a split vote can do.
A split vote that literally everyone sat on the call and was like, oh man, I really it was I don't know why it was so split and why it was so tough because it didn't really matter, but then it really did kind of matter. So it's just which is it? My perspective, no offense again to you, John, I didn't have a vested interest into either side because I didn't have a deal, a bond.
I feel like it just showed after all of that Chris really does not want me in the game. I feel like anything he gives out is phony and fake anyway.
Just to add to that, it's not just a group consensus where everyone is being silent. It is a specific amount of people that are not talking to a specific amount of people. For example, I was on the block for the first bit of the week, and I get very many PMs saying sorry to see you on the block, easy ways just to make conversation, just to acknowledge that I'm a human being, because outside of this game, I still have personal relationships with a lot of you. Nope. Then I win veto. And I maybe get 2 or 3 still again away. I'm safe now for the week and I'm here now for week 3. I don't know. You guys can play the way you want to play, but
no, I mean, I agree. I agree with you guys because I felt like a lot of people weren't talking to me before I won HOH, and then the second I won HOH, it's everybody was in my PMs. The second I made my nominations, everybody quieted again. The second you won veto, everybody's talking to me again. The second I make my renom, everybody's done talking to me.
And I tried to sit back as much as possible, but I was getting kind of annoyed, so I threw out a few comments. And then, of course, Taylor's just sitting there, playing with makeup brushes on her face again.
And then Shelby goes, well, I think everyone's feeling that way, so it's not just you. And I'm like, did everyone win the power of veto last round? Did everyone get nominated last round? No. There are people in this game that did nothing last week.
Supposedly, we're all not really having a lot of game chatter, and we're just still trying to vibe and build out. That, I know, after week 2, is not true.
It's the more that Chris talks, the more I get annoyed with him in this game. You can tell that he's trying to say things in a way that makes him look good, and it just feels so fake and so forced. Like, he had the nerve to call out people for connecting him with Taylor when literally like 3 days ago he was all up in my PMs, and like we were literally on a hangout, and he's like,
I personally want, yes, a group. I know that I want you to be one person for sure. And just being completely like candid and frank, like I would like Taylor to be one person too.
make up your mind. Like, do you want to align with her or not? If you do, like, you're doing a pretty good job. You voted on the same sides every week so far. You offered me an alliance with her, so it looks like y'all might be working together. So don't sit around here like being like, oh yeah, I'm not working with them. At least when people call me out about my allies, I admit to it. Like, Brady was all up in my PMs like, oh, why all of a sudden your allies want to keep Sean? And I'm like, who? And he's like, Joe, Jacob, and Dustin. I'm like, all right, those are my allies. Those are the ones you're talking about.
I talked to you, Chris. I want you to know that. Like, I think right now the problem is that people just don't communicate, or I guess. Because, like, I didn't get told this whole flipping thing until, like, 45 minutes before the thing. But I don't want you to feel like you're alone or anything. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Because, like, Chris, I do genuinely enjoy talking to you. I talk to you on one-on-ones when I try to. I want you to know that. Yeah. Taylor, when it comes to you, I'm going to be honest, because I don't like to lie, and I can't lie with the shit. I was scared of you this week.
She was on the block.
Yeah. Okay. I was scared of you because everyone keeps on saying, like, I'm associated with certain people, and I didn't want you to think, like, oh, because you're on the block, I am talking to you because I feel bad, or, like, that I'm...
But listen, last week we talked almost every day.
I know, and then that's why I felt bad. And that's why I was afraid to talk to you. Because I felt bad.
You felt bad because I was on the block?
Yeah. And I didn't want you to that I hated it.
So did you, like, ignore John or Pam last week? Like,
no. That's because
you were scared of them? They were on the block? Like, your excuses?
No, because
You should be scared, bitch.
No, I didn't, like, well, like, people think that I got a hand in it or whatever.
Then why didn't you talk to me? Because you not talking to me makes me think that you had a hand in it.
These people are so hypocritical. The one issue I had last week was I was nominated and didn't get messages from like 5 people about like, sorry you're nominated, or like, sucks to see you up on the block. And then I'm like, okay, well, not everyone has to message you that. Like, I'm not gonna be angry over something like that. And then I won veto, and I didn't get messages from those same people. And now I'm like, okay, I literally like won my way off the block. Like, you can say like congrats on veto without it being awkward. It was just weird that they didn't, and I was extremely upset with that.
I just want to make sure that we're all okay, and I love you all, and I hope we can still have fun this weekend, and yeah.
After the house call ended, I was like, Andrew, I want to talk to you. And so Andrew and I get on call, and Andrew's like spilling all the tea to me and telling me that Joe apparently thought that I was leading the vote to vote out Sean, which is funny because I was actually working 2 to 10 today, which means that there was literally no way that I would have been able to get on call with anyone and talk about the vote and lead the vote. And apparently, like, I'm known to have sheeps in games, and, like, it's not fair. So I think Andrew and I have a good connection. I really like Andrew, but I'm hoping that I could keep him close, because, you know, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And it's not that Andrew's necessarily an enemy to me, but he has done me dirty in the game already, and it's only week 2, so I'm just gonna be careful, because I need to be careful.
We finally got Sean out, even though Sean was probably with us, but I guess it's considered a win for us. Not really at all, because it's still their side completely safe. They chose to take out Sean when they put him up on the block, so whatever.
What is with people in this game? I'm honestly so happy that I'm not aligned with the other side of the house because they keep turning on their allies. Like, Taylor, vote out Sean. I thought they were close. And I'm not just like, I didn't just like come up with that because they literally like offered me alliance together and then Taylor voted him out. Taylor threw Brady's name under the bus to me. Brady has been throwing people's names under the bus. Like, Chris was throwing Andrew under the bus. Like, all these people have thrown out each other's names or said, I'm not working with this person, or said, you should nominate these people. My side has done nothing but do things to defend each other. So I'm glad that I'm sitting here and not over there. And that's why I'm glad that my allies came together again this week to vote together, even if it didn't work out for us. Because I think that that is more important than the numbers and who we're getting out, is just all of us being on the same page.
So I've created an alliance called the Good Bitches. It includes myself, Jacob, Shelby, Dustin, and Jonathan. So that way, you know, we can all have a place to powwow and talk. But if I was Shelby, Dustin, even Jacob and Jonathan, I'd kind of want to be separating myself from me and Jacob, because if we don't win HOH, I think that we're going up. But I don't know. Hey, we had a question about the spreadsheet.
Yo, what's up? Does it suck? I'm sorry.
What is the announcement?
That was the first announcement they made, basically just explaining us how if we were in any group calls, to add production, don't forget to do DRs.
Oh.
Very generic.
Waking up Saturday morning, Joe had actually decided to create an alliance, which I thought was funny because, you know, the first one went so well. I've got high hopes for this one. And so it's a 5-person alliance with myself, Joe, Dustin, Jonathan, and Shelby, called the Good Bitches. I'm glad that we're in a chat. I'm glad that we're all on the same page. I am a little nervous, though, about being in another alliance because my game right now is trying to win over people on that other side, make them think that I want to work with them. People like Ryan, Mandy, and hopefully Brady. And it's going to be really hard to win these people over if it ever comes out that I was in another group chat, you know. I've got a tough enough battle as it is explaining this group chat with Sean and Joe at the very beginning. It's just whatever. Speaking of promises, I just think I would like to point out that Brady has now broken 2 promises in 2 weeks. He promised Jonathan he wasn't going up week 1, and he promised Sean that he wasn't voting him out. Ryan too. Ryan told Sean 100% that he was going to vote to keep him. Now, granted, it was before the veto replacement, and so of course they didn't know Mandy was going up. But then don't make that promise. If you're not sure what's going to happen and you think you might go back on it, then don't promise them something, you know? You know, people can call me shady or however much they'd like to because of this whole alliance thing. But at least I've never broken a promise with someone. You know, every promise that I've told people I've kept. And if I win HOH, I promise to keep my deal with Mandy. She wouldn't go up. But I might have to rethink the promise I made to not put up Brady. So, let's see what happens.
I'm just ready for it to happen.
You look battle ready.
And I'm ready for, like, depending on who wins, like, my reaction's going to be so clear. Like, I feel like it's going to just start this whole, like, explosion again. There are clearly people over there that are calling shots and clearly people who are taking orders.
What would be your hierarchy of those 5? What would your guess be?
Well, there's Joe and Jacob. I feel like Jacob is just kind of there while it's kind of opportune. Like, Joe's at the top because I feel like he's the one that has the strongest convictions every single week about what he wants to happen. This is the person with the strong agenda. And then these are the people that are kind of like, okay, sure, like, I'll do that, fine.
Going into this, I definitely want to win. Duh. There's 2 sides. There's the people I don't talk to ever, and the people I talk to all the time. So obviously I want to win and keep these people safe and take out these people. My new alliance, which is called, by the way, the Brains, Beauty, Brawn, and the Beard. Me, Ryan, Chris Brown, and Taylor. And one of us has to win HOH.
I am so unbelievably pumped up for this HOH and to really get this week rolling. There are no gray areas for me when it comes to this week. It's pretty black or white. Depending on who wins determines whether I will be safe or whether I will be nominated. We have finally gotten to a point where it's pretty obvious and pretty blatant that this house is divided, split right down the middle. At least my argument, my push is that I never had, full allegiance with Taylor, and that I didn't even really get a chance to, forge relationships with other people and to be able to shake that perception before it was completely pushed out there as an agenda to kind of really take eyes off of Joe and Jacob having a strong duo and, really playing this game hard from jump, which I guess it makes sense for them because, they kind of came in as a twist, two people that obviously know each other very well, played in production and real life best friends. So it's just kind of like, I get the motivation, but it still annoys me because I don't like when shit doesn't go my way. So what am I going to do tonight? I'm going to give 200% in this HOH challenge and hopefully come out on top because I'm ready to f some shit up. I think it really sets the stage for, a battle royale to happen this evening. And I think that depending on when the dust settles and where the power falls really depends on whether this week's going to be phenomenal for me or whether it's going to be f***ed up. So we shall see.
Welcome to your third Head of Household competition of the season, Hair Mania Madness.
What are we clapping for?
Hair Mania Madness.
Shelby, as outgoing HOH, you are ineligible to compete. Here's how you play. You will be competing in pairs. Somebody that is good at numbers and somebody that is good at grammar. You now have 5 minutes to decide who you would like to partner with for this competition.
Can we randomize a list?
Everyone's on this call, and it's super awkward. Pick a partner, says Keith. Pick a partner. Okay, I want to just go out there and say, Chris Brown, be my partner, because I'm great at numbers, and you're definitely great at talking, because all you do is talk, so I know if me and Chris Brown are a team, we're going to be great.
I don't care either way. Whoever.
Immediately, no one wants to say anything, so I was just like, this is stupid. I want to pick my partner and just be done with picking partners. So I said, Chris Brown, do you want to be my partner?
Hey, Chris Brown, do you want to be partners?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
And he's like, yeah, I'll be your partner. And then people were like, oh shit, it's that easy to pick a partner. Let me just do it myself because I have no allies to pick from. They're all just like trying to hide their alliances that are super obvious.
We found out that it was a duos competition. I ended up telling the alliance, hey, we should probably branch out a little bit and make sure to pick people outside of the alliance.
Hey Ryan, you want to be my partner?
Sure, say no to that shit. That's garbage.
When I asked Ryan on the group call if he could be my partner, Brady felt a certain kind of way.
Joe said something to Ryan involving like asking Ryan to be his partner, I think, and I don't know why I said this because it was really stupid and it made me look like a complete ass, but I said something like, oh, don't be his partner, Ryan. And then I realized that Ryan could throw it to Joe and sabotage Joe, so realistically it's actually a great thing for them to be together.
Once Joe said, Ryan, do you want to be partners? I immediately jumped on that opportunity. I would have much rather had Taylor and Mandy work together and Chris and Mike Brady work together because I can throw the competition so Joe doesn't win.
So going into the challenge, we needed someone to be good at numbers and someone to be good at grammar. I knew I'm shit at grammar. I can barely speak the English language, so I knew that my partner was gonna have to be the grammar person.
I'm no mathematician, so if anybody needs a grammar girl.
The moment that Jonathan said that he was good at grammar, I thought, that's my partner right there.
Like, oh hey, John and Jacob are a pair? Wow, I wonder if they're possibly working. Oh, obviously they're working together because they've been voting together the entire time.
They allowed who your partners are, so I can write it just.
Me and Andrew are going to be partners.
Say a name.
Dustin Cole Putman, we partner me.
Okay, who's the next team? Who's the next team?
Taylor and Mandy.
Who's the next team?
Brady and Chris Brown.
Okay. Who's the next team?
Jacob and Jonathan.
And then that leaves Joe and Ryan.
Going into HOH today, the mood between me and my allies, it's not the best. I think our morale going into this competition is super low because ultimately we're outnumbered 6-4 competing. What ends up happening is that I become partnered with Jonathan while Joe becomes partnered with Ryan and Dustin becomes partnered with Andrew. Ultimately, I think what we should have done is had us 4 make 2 different teams. I felt that Jonathan and I had the weight of the competition on our shoulders because ultimately I didn't think that Andrew and Ryan were going to perform very well, meaning that Joe and Dustin weren't going to have a good chance of winning.
This competition is not sponsored by Mad Libs. Here's how you play. Each pair will be brought into their own Google Hangout. The person that is good at numbers will compete first. The person good at numbers will decipher a 3-digit code. You will have 3 puzzles where the answer to each puzzle is a single digit. Once you solve all 3 puzzles, you must say aloud the 3-digit password. Be careful, every incorrect guess you make will result in your team receiving a 1-minute penalty. Once you submit the correct 3-digit code aloud, your partner that is good at grammar will receive a link to a Google document, where they will be competing in a competition called Reverse Mad Libs. Mad Libs is a party game where you fill out a short story with various parts of the speech to result in a crazier and weirder version of the story. You will have access to 2 stories, one called The Art of Espionage and the other called Big Brother Basics. Both stories have the exact same amount of nouns, plural nouns, adjectives, etc. as the other story. However, the Big Brother Basics story is filled out, whereas the Art of Espionage is unfilled. Your goal is to read through the Big Brother Basics story and determine which parts of speech were likely filled out by a human and not a part of the actual template. In the Big Brother Basics story, you are looking for 6 plural nouns, 5 adjectives, 2 nouns, 1 verb ending in ing, 1 person in room, 1 place, and 1 celebrity. Once you find all of the above parts of speech in the Big Brother Basics story, you will insert those words into the Art of Espionage story. Every incorrect word you submit will result in a 1-minute penalty. The team with the fastest time will win the competition. They must then self-select a head of household. If both parties cannot agree within a 5-minute time frame, the next fastest pair will win and get to self-select a head of household. Who's ready to Mad Lib their way into victory?
All right, let's go.
3, 2, 1, it's there.
When I talked to Ryan right before the challenge, like, I just wasn't sure, like, if I'd made the right decision, because this challenge was so important and I really, really wanted to, you know, have that sense of safety. The pass is 1, 2, 7.
Sorry, that is incorrect.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What is the sum of the numbers?
What it ends up being is just numbers. Like, how many times does this number show up? I'm like, oh shit, good thing I went downstairs and loaded up a J before doing this. So I was super focused.
Alright, 753.
Incorrect.
I immediately start kicking myself in the butt. I just added a minute to our time. We're super screwed. We just lost and it's all my fault.
Okay, my guess is 698.
That is correct. Chris, you can turn around. I'm pasting the doc in your Skype chat.
I did my numbers part great because I'm a mathematician god. I completely nailed it. Yes.
Number's 514.
The code is 827.
Okay, that's correct.
Is the answer 439?
That is correct.
752.
That is correct.
It's all up to Jonathan now. And I'm thinking, Jonathan, please, like, kill this. Like, let's win this together. Like, please, God. I feel like it was definitely all on us.
Puzzle.
Basic, no, that's just obviously part of the fun.
Okay.
Alright, so just to confirm, I'm taking the stuff from the Big Brother Basic story and putting it into the Art of Espionage, correct?
Exactly. So like Keith said, like the words that don't fit, the words that are kind of like the human inserted words in the bottom, those are what are being copied and pasted into the top.
It just really, really scared me. I was freaking out the entire time. I felt like I was at the mercy of Ryan.
I took definitely a lot longer than I could have, for sure. We're talking about someone that's not only I was a straight A student in school, took AP English classes. Like, when it comes to anything that's memory based, I usually do a pretty damn good job. I just kind of made it up a little bit that I was checking my answers and I had to double check and triple check and this and that and this and that, which, did I? Sure, but I took a lot longer than I could have. But at the end of the day, I just did not want Joe to win. I just want to make sure I don't f anything up, so I want to make sure all my answers are 100% right.
Lake Superior is a noun and a place.
The story isn't supposed to make sense, right? Or is it?
Does capitalization count?
No.
Okay, cool. Plural noun number 3. I'm doing the Mad Libs. Personally, I am a fast reader. I'm reading it once, and I'm getting a good, I feel like I'm getting a good feel. I'm reading very quickly. It was only a paragraph. I was nervous about not making any mistakes, so I double-checked myself, and I'm a little worried that I may have taken too much time double-checking. Okay, I'm just going to reread because I need to make sure I have the right adjectives.
Okay, done.
Should be good.
All right, I stopped the timer.
Okay, done.
Done?
Done.
Okay.
We are going to reveal the results of the competition. In no particular order. Let's start with Joe and Ryan. Joe and Ryan, your total time was 12 minutes and 55 seconds. But you had one error, bringing your total time to 13 minutes and 55 seconds. Next up is Taylor and Mandy. Taylor and Mandy, your total time was 14 minutes and 25 seconds, but you also had 3 errors, bringing your total time to 17 minutes and 25 seconds. Taylor and Mandy, please leave the Skype call. Next up is Dustin and Andrew. Dustin and Andrew, your total time was 12 minutes and 41 seconds. But you had 4 errors, bringing your total time to 16 minutes and 41 seconds. Andrew and Dustin, please leave the Skype call. Next up is Michael Brady and Chris. Michael Brady and Chris, your total time was 12 minutes and 41 seconds. But you had 1 error, bringing your total time to 13 minutes and 41 seconds. This knocks out Joe and Ryan from the lead. Joe and Ryan, please leave the Skype call. It all comes down to Jacob and Jonathan and Michael Brady and Chris. Shelby, please leave the Skype call.
Damn! Okay.
Okay, final four.
I'm freaking the out because I don't have any control at this point. Being the outgoing HOH, the only thing that I can do is hope that my allies can pull out a win for us so that I can stay safe.
Ultimately, it comes down to me and Jonathan and Brady and Chris. I thought that Brady and Chris had it. I couldn't really follow how long we took. I didn't think we took that long, but I just wasn't sure. This is it. Like, Brady and Chris are about to win HOH.
Jacob and Jonathan, your time was 8 minutes and 12 seconds. But you made 1 error, bringing your time to 9 minutes and 12 seconds. Congratulations, Jacob and Jonathan.
Yes! Wow.
And Michael Brady, please leave the Skype.
Congrats, guys.
Good job, guys.
Yes! Give me that.
But wouldn't you know that Jonathan and I are actually able to beat them by almost 4 minutes. We did it. We won the HOH. I could not believe it, dude.
Jonathan and Jacob, you now have a very important decision. You must now determine who will become this week's head of household. The options are only yourself. You have 5 minutes to discuss.
Okay, 5 minutes. So wait, seriously. I think thinking about the next HOH, I think I did consistently better in the other competitions too. But it's up to you, whatever you think.
The only thing I was going to say was I felt like you really won this for us because you had the harder one and I had the mistake, so I felt like you might have wanted it, and I feel like you have a bone to pick with the 5 people that still voted for you.
It's like I know who I would nominate. I'm sure you do too. But I mean, it's if you want it, you can totally have it.
So I think you're totally thinking Longhorn by giving me this HOH, but I'm gonna take it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, give me that HOH, girl.
Oh man, I kind of wanted it now, but no, you can have it.
I'll take it. I'll do it.
Okay, awesome. Good job, Jonathan.
Did y'all come to a decision?
Yes, Jonathan will be HOH.
All right, congratulations, Jonathan. You are
Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Dawn wins HOH. Of course, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I got second place again. The snooze fest that is the other group in Alliance over there is really like ridiculous. And it's so funny because they all like are still like pretending like, oh, we are just like this one happy family when they all disappear off the call one at a time.
I'm gonna get some food, but I'll talk to you guys later.
Off.
You ain't my mom, Daddy. You're a real
I'm gonna head off though for now, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll be back if you guys are still on. Bye.
Bye. Might as well go to bed.
I know. I'm presuming there's gotta be another call coming on since
I mean, they all laugh at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, the people who are normally on this call all one by one, just like, oh, I'm gonna leave. Oh, I'm gonna leave. It's safe to say that they all are on a call.
Yes!
Oh. Oh. There's my right here. There's my right here.
Dude, Jonathan, like, I want to kiss you right now.
Oh, I'm so happy I know how to read.
Oh my God.
We hold all the power this week, and we don't need Andrew. 4 is enough for majority. 4 is enough.
Yeah, we can.
Andrew.
Yeah, well, there's only 8 votes this week.
Oh
so
my God!
we can send home whoever we want.
Like, seriously, Jonathan, whoever you want, we can do it.
We can do it, yeah. 100%.
Well, look who's in power once again. Just to be in power. And not... Those people are awful to us and awful to Joe and Jacob. Especially after they did to Sean. They deserve it. And I'm just really happy the good bitches came out on top.
I feel so good. For one of the first times in this game, I actually feel like shit is gonna go the way that it's supposed to without a whole bunch of drama. My HOH was a disaster. Brady's HOH was so sketchy and so messy. So hopefully Jonathan can be the first person to have a really successful HOH in this game.
I'm really, really happy that I was able to create that alliance with Shelby, Dustin, Jonathan, and Jacob. The good bitches are here to roll. We're ready to take them on. I just want this game to continue going my way for a bit, and hopefully everything goes that way.
Hello, welcome to The Invisible Man Wins Head of Household this week. And suddenly, he's just as invisible. I made a solid, more firm, awkward alliance with Andrew. I kind of forced it onto him. Hopefully it sticks a little bit. I feel like you and I are in similar boats.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, more people are pissed at me, not because they're pissed at me, just because they voted me out. Like, they have a reason to not work with me. Like, I feel like I can trust you the most because of your position. If this isn't clear already, I want to work with you officially.
Okay. I'm like
I want an alliance with you.
Okay, good. Because like I was like feeling about it. Like I like same with like me.
It is just as awkward talking to Ryan and Amanda as it was day one, if not worse now, because after talking to them on call, I realized they can't hold a conversation.
Jonathan winning was the worst scenario for me, just because we haven't really talked and connected that much, which scares me. Hopefully, Joe and Jacob can push me to stay off the block this week, and we just talked about formulating a 4-person alliance between me, Jacob, Joe, and Shelby.
Shelby and I talked a bit. I told her, I was like, hey, I was talking to Ryan a bit. Have you talked to Ryan? Yeah. So we might have a little side deal with him. Apparently Ryan wants to include Jacob too, which is okay. I was kind of hoping to make it a 3-person thing, not a 4-person thing. That way I would know that Ryan is more with me than with Jacob. But I think aligning with me is probably good for him because apparently I'm viewed as the person that is the most vocal, and that's probably true. and by design. I definitely wanted people to know where my head was at every week. And apparently with that, now they know that I'm not with them.
So before HOH even happens, Joe and I are on call, and he lets me know that Ryan has come to him about potentially wanting to work with us. Now, that kind of surprised me because Ryan, although he's someone that I've been talking to a lot more lately, we never talk game. So it came off kind of weird to me, but obviously I'm still going to be open to the possibilities because the last thing I want to do is deny myself more allies at this point. After HOH was over and the dust had finally settled, Ryan wanted to get on a call with me. We're talking about whatever, and then randomly he brings up this alliance thing that Joe had warned me about earlier in the day. The way that he does it is it's very nonchalant, and I don't really know what to think about it. We're talking, and he's literally like, oh, I was thinking that it would be great if you and I aligned with Joe and Jacob because I really like them. What do you think of this? And I'm like, that's such a weird way to word it. But obviously I love Joe and Jacob. But the general idea of this alliance really sketches me out. One, because Joe and Jacob are quite possibly the biggest targets in this game right now. Pretty much half of the house want them on the block, and I don't know if I want a connection with them that could be easily leaked by someone like Ryan. The fact that I would be connected to Joe and Jacob in another way scares the out of me, because if they're nominated and people know that I'm in another alliance with them and Ryan, I could easily be a renom or be like the next best option. The second thing that sketched me out about it is that I know that Ryan is close with Taylor and Brady and people who are on the other side of the house. So why would he want to make an alliance that doesn't include them? It makes me feel like he's just looking out for himself in the case of like a fast forward, which is smart, but at the same time, it sketches me out. The other thing that sketches me out about it is that I'm pretty sure that Brady is not aware of it. Brady is someone that I have a very interesting relationship with. I trust him, but at the same time, I feel like he's really unreliable and can change his mind and be super impulsive, and that's not exactly the best kind of qualities to have in an ally. But I do value the information that he has with me. I value how straight up he's been with me. He's always expressed that he's really close with Ryan and that he feels that he's Ryan's like number one, or at least really high up there. So the fact that Brady hasn't mentioned anything about this with me, like it sketches me out because part of me wants to tell Brady so that he is aware of where Ryan stands, and also so that in case this is something that Brady is aware of, he doesn't know that I'm keeping something from him. I would rather be straight up with my allies, and that's one of the difficulties that I'm having with this alliance that is formed.
I figure if that happens, I'll have those four, and then I'm aligned with Mandy and Taylor in that alliance, and then we've got the four alliance with me, Brady, Taylor, and Chris. So for the most part, I am in a group with just about everybody right now, except for Dustin and Jonathan and Andrew. At this point, I feel like Ryan's sitting pretty in this game. I just gotta, fingers crossed, I don't go up on the block, and we'll just have to go from there. But other than that, have a good night.
I am not usually ever in this position when I play games in terms of having to like be scrappy and battle and do whatever I need to do to stay in this game, but I am. I'm going to do everything I can to stay because I'm not a quitter, but at the same time, I'm just deflated right now and not really enjoying how this week is going to go. I mean, I'm here, honestly, just to hear if there's anything that you want to kind of express to me in terms of what you want. I've been an open book and an open canvas from the very beginning of this game. I have not been approached with a lot of opportunities, and it wasn't until last round when I had been alienated by several people, noticeably alienated by several people, that people felt like, okay, this is an opportune time to begin to talk to me and tell me about things that are going on that I'm not aware of.
My piece is, I'm probably going to nominate you. Only because, like, I just felt like the animosity totally escalated. I know that, like, we were talking game and, like, why we did our things, but, like, hearing the way, like, the reasoning why you voted me out and who everybody's talking to who, it just felt really, really, like, it felt like you just straight up had no intention of working with me and had no desire to like see where I was at with anything. I don't know if further down the road there's a good possibility of you wanting to work with me just because it felt so like personal and like you had an animosity against me.
And see, that's all perceptions. For me, I don't have a feeling on you because we haven't had any communication or we've had limited. So it's just like, if that's a feeling that you have, I feel like that's a perception or that's you placing something or reading into something that isn't there or true. I don't have a feeling or any animosity towards you at all. It's just if I'm not having the communication, then I don't feel anything.
It became very crystal clear when, you know, a noticeable group of people stopped reaching out to me completely. And then when I started to learn more about what was being said behind the scenes about, oh my gosh, I'm in a really, really tight duo with this person that I have had limited conversation with. I had at that particular point, limited conversation with because, especially after she got nominated, I'm talking about Taylor, just to be clear. After she got nominated because she didn't know where I stood, because I had limited conversation with her as well. She's doing her own thing, reaching out, making her own connections. And I'm in a place where I feel like it doesn't matter whether I'm reaching out to people or if I'm not reaching out to people, that things were set into place.
My God, he talks so much. I had to take notes, Keith. I had to take notes. At first, I felt like I was giving him a really big window to possibly not get nominated. And then it got lost in translation because he didn't think he had that window.
John is going to be taking out a big number on my side, which means that side, the evil side, Jacob, the Joker, Joe, the thief, Shelby, the witch. John is the homeless guy. I don't know, another supervillain. Dustin can be the water robber because he steals people's water. I'm sure they're all great people. Not that I would know because they don't ever talk to me anymore. I'll leave you guys on the fact that this nomination ceremony is probably going to suck. Maybe there'll be drama. I hope there's drama. Let's get some drama. Drama, drama, drama.
So I know I'm definitely going up this week. There's no surprise about it. I think that it's probably in John's best interest to nominate me anyways. John has a lot of influence over the 4 votes on the other side, and I think if I can convince him that I'm not a big enough target for him, he might take the selfish route and get them to vote out someone that's more beneficial for his game. I'm targeting people like Jacob, Joe, Dustin, etc. I kind of want to tell John, hey, listen, like, I'm not targeting you. I think that you should take the selfish route and think about something for your game rather than something just for your group's game. And I'm not going after you, so there should be no reason that you want me gone this week and you want me targeted this week.
I really do not want Taylor leaving this week. Again, she's such a big target and can win comps. I need her, again, as a shield in this game. I feel like no matter what, though, she's going to be nominated. And if Joe has anything to do with it, Chris will probably be the second nomination.
Brady did not want me to win. He did not want me to pair up with Ryan. He didn't want anything to do with me. The way it's listed, I guess Brady is 100% coming after me and me alone. I have no idea. So if I would have won HOH this week, I would have loved to see him go. The only person I have anything against right now is Brady because he's not treating me like a good person, I guess, and that's what I am. I'm a good bitch.
I gave everybody a chance to talk to me this week, but it looks like some people just completely missed the opportunity they had. I'm going to do an eye for an eye this week and make sure that those who kept me safe are in my good graces this week, and those who did not keep me safe better watch their backs. Welcome to the nomination ceremony, everybody. As head of household, it is my responsibility to nominate 2 house guests for eviction. I will pull the first key, and that person is safe. They will pull the next key, and so on and so forth. With that being said, the first person safe is Ryan.
Thank you, Jonathan. And the next person safe is Dustin.
Thank you, Jonathan. The next person safe is Amanda.
Thank you, Jonathan. The next person safe is Shelby.
Thank you, Jonathan. The next person safe is Andrew.
Thank you, Jonathan. The next person safe is Brady.
Thank you, Jonathan. The next person safe is Joe.
Thank you, Jonathan. Last person safe is Jacob.
This means I've nominated you, Taylor, and you, Chris, for eviction this week. Taylor, I feel like you've been coming for me like a bat out of hell. And Chris, you've stuck to your guns to the victory week 1, and now's my chance to defend myself. Good luck to both of you in the veto competition, and with that, this nomination ceremony is adjourned. So I've decided to nominate Taylor and Chris this week for eviction. They came after me in week 1, and there hasn't been any bridge of communication since. So, it's an easy decision. Sorry.
Nominations just happened, and the only way I could be happier is if Brady was on the block. It's just annoying because week 1, I thought he was someone that I'd be able to, talk to and kind of keep on like as a side deal or my, something like that. But I don't think there's going to be any chance of that in this game. So, sorry, Brady. You're going to go real soon.
Ready to go on the block for the second week in a row.